What has remained constant at KO? Great students.
Every day something happens that causes you to say, wow, that was really cool, or I really learned something from a child or a colleague or a parent.
I think the one thing that really works, and the one thing that has not changed, is the human interaction, the value placed on education, the value placed on the student-teacher relationship.
You're dealing with the power of ideas to inspire, and the trick is, how do you get that in there? How do you get the kids to know that? How do you get their arms around it?
The relationship between students and teachers, the values of the school, the commitment to academics.
As a teacher, what a gift it is to be, for the most part, with kids who really are great kids, interested in learning. It's still cool at KO to know things. There's a lot of places in the world where it's not so cool to be smart.
I think what I like about Kingswood is that it's not a pretentious place.
What separates this place, or what distinguishes Kingswood-Oxford, are the people.
You know, working with students, teaching what you love, coaching what you love, and it makes it easy to come to work every morning. And that hasn't changed over the years at all.
It's a school that blends the best of what independent, private, prep school education is with a diverse, middle-class society, the real world.
We push it to the edge, but we know when to not go over it in some ways. And we take care of kids, but we also try to, have them try to realize who they are and what potentials they have.
But I always feel that there's a great spirit here, and you know everybody. By the time we graduate and we shake hands with everybody in the senior class, we actually know most of those students.
Once people find out that you can do your job well, you're left alone.
And if you were enthusiastic or passionate about something, they said, go on, go right out there and try it, give it a whirl.
They trust you to teach. If they've chosen you to be a teacher, they give you the tools. You have a classroom, you have bright kids, and they pretty much stay out of your way. And they say, go ahead, teach. You think you can teach? Whom the gods would punish, they grant their wishes. So I wanted to teach, and for some reason, they let me do it.
Seeing kids grow academically, athletically, as persons, which is probably the most important thing. I enjoyed coming to work every day, okay?
And that's a wonderful way to spend your life. It's a wonderful way.
Now here's a memory that really stands out in my mind. This must have been 1988. Vice President Bush was running for president, and his main campaign advisor was Tom Collimore, who was one of my all-time best poli-sci kids. Tom Collimore had gotten VIP tickets up close for all the kids in my 3 sections of poli-sci. So we were in poli-sci class, and we were having regular class and getting ready to walk over, and the phone rang. Those were the days before we didn't have caller ID, no speaker phone. It was Tom Collimore calling from Air Force 2. He said, we're just flying over Kingswood-Oxford, we're heading to Bradley, we're going to land, then we're going to start the motorcade. He said, but I just wanted to give you a call from Air Force 2. And he then handed the phone to Vice President Bush, who, and then the kids all ran up and said hello to him on the phone. We had no speakerphone. Each one said hello. What a fun memory.
We were going, I think, the last trip to Australia, and we were in the departure area at LAX, and our kids were playing hacky sack, and they were yakking and this and that. And got them all on the plane, and got off the plane, and this elderly couple, who were probably younger than I am now, came up to me and said, when we were waiting, we thought this was going to be a flight from hell. But I'd like to tell you, your kids were the best behaved kids I've ever seen of that age group. And I thought, that really spoke for Kingswood.
So when I interviewed for this job, one of the questions they asked me that I was unprepared for was, what sports can you coach? And I just laughed, isn't that funny? And they said, no, seriously, what sports can you coach? And I said, well, if it requires coordination from here to here, we can do it. Anything else that goes beyond a walk, we're in trouble. This is like how not to get a job in independent school education. Who knew?
I remember walking in from football practice one afternoon, Friday afternoon, day before a game, and coaches Lorden and Van Dyke were walking ahead of me about 10 yards. So I thought, gee, they must be talking about, the game tomorrow and what we're going to do and so on, how they feel about it. I better catch up. So I broke into a little jog and caught up with them and listened in on their conversation. And they were quite seriously talking about their varied experiences with their hemorrhoids.
Some kids had stopped by a farm nearby and picked up a pig. This was a senior prank, and they turned it loose on the top floor of Roberts in the morning. The pig ended up in my office under the piano and started nibbling away at some music that was on the floor there. And it was, I think David Hild was responsible for actually going in and tackling the thing.
There was an assembly a long time ago, 25 years ago, and Dick Cayley happened to be in charge of the assemblies that year, and he brought in a taxidermist. And the taxidermist had the box full of eyeballs and did all these things in a slideshow, and when it was thrown open to student questions, one kid got up and walked down to the front and said to the taxidermist, "What's the largest animal you've ever mounted?" And everybody in the auditorium knew what the question was about, except the taxidermist.
One time, handcuffing Dick Dale to his chair in Roberts and then carrying him around the halls handcuffed to his chair. And the time they picked up a young lady's Volkswagen and put it in the common room, which was down in the basement of Roberts. I mean, they were some crazy things.
I think what's kept me here all these years is the people, both the students and the faculty. The students are a never-ending source of surprise and delight, and one of the things that keeps me fresh as a person and as a teacher is having that new children every year and getting to know them. And a student who's just a face in the crowd becomes a friend, really, by the end of the year.
It's just been a comfortable piece of earth for me. I've always described it as a cozy spot, and it will forever remain that to me.
It didn't take me long to figure out that it's highly unlikely I would have found a better place to spend my days.
I think we have a reputation as a school for producing not only smart people, not only accomplished people, but people you want to spend time with.
What's special about the KO faculty, there is an endless enthusiasm, energy, a commitment, a dedication to this place, and I have been just floored by the level of expertise. Many of them obviously could, teach at the college level or do other interesting things. We have journalists, we have professional musicians and artists, we have writers, we have historians, yet they have dedicated their lives to working, at a middle and high school setting.
Because it's such a family place, because the colleagues are so amazing, and the students that come and go have been an integral part of my life. Later on, they become my friends, they become my colleagues. I see them at reunions. It's just a place where you feel you can make a difference in students' lives.
I guess it comes down to people and relationships. The relationships that I developed with students and the students developed with each other.